Welcome to all in today's session of Value Added Certificate course been organized by the Department of Chemistry, Pandit NRS Government College Rohtak under the aegis of Department of Higher Education, Haryana. First of all, I wish to give my sincere thanks to the Department of Higher Education, Haryana for giving us the opportunity to organize such type of programs which are the need of the hour. Now it gives me immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Randeep Kaur Bajwa, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Chemistry at Government College Gurdaspur, Punjab. Respected ma'am, Randeep Kaur Bajwa has a very long teaching experience of nearly 30 years for teaching UG classes since 1994. Ma'am has cleared the MSc with as a class topper, as a university topper means ma'am is a gold medalist at that particular time when he passed the MSc examination, their PG examination. Ma'am has a very long experience in the different administrative works. Ma'am is continuously engaged in formation of large number of video lectures. Ma'am is a regular passionate about the ICT tools and ma'am is regularly using all these ICT tools in the classroom. Ma'am has a very long experience in other social activities also. Ma'am is also the coordinator, IQAC coordinator in the department, in the college, Government College, Gurdaspur, Punjab. So thank you so much, ma'am, for coming in that particular session. I am also feel proud and extend my hearty welcome to you, ma'am, on behalf of all the participants and all the college fraternity members, along with the chemistry department fraternity members, because we are going to be benefited with your expertise. Ma'am, as you are belonging to the Department of Chemistry, so this theme of the course is given by the Department of Higher Education Haryana in such a way that every branch is directly or indirectly related to our basic theme. I would like to mention that our theme is also one of the highest priority of government of India and remains one of the key challenges to the whole society. I am sure that all the inputs and the guidance given by you, ma'am, in this session will go a long way in enriching our efforts for making this program to a successful manner. Thank you so much, ma'am, and welcome again to be the part of this session by accepting our invitation on such a short call because you are already been engaging in the different administrative, cultural, social programs. Now I request ma'am, Randeep Kaur Bajwa, ma'am, please start your talk with our participants with your valuable, precious experience and knowledge. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Ravinderji, for this wonderful opportunity to be a part of this value added certificate course with a very relevant theme that is chemistry in everyday life. And I can see, sir, that you and your team they're working very hard to make this program a success. Thank you very much, sir. My topic for today is role of metal ions in biological systems. This universe is great, and it is wonderful to be a human, to be able to understand and explore nature's ways. Who is the greatest scientist? The universe, which we see with our eyes outside us, also dwells within us. The more we are able to control the inner world, the easier will be to reading the outer world. And I always tell my students, this is not philosophy, this is the real science that we all need to understand. In today's lecture, I will be talking about some important, essential, and trace elements in our body, molecules in which they are present, see their three-dimensional structures, and try to have an idea about their working. So let us start. So we'll be talking about a very few elements actually. Uh, in this periodic table, we can see the various elements that are present in our human bodies, and elements which are very essential. They are shown in the purple color. So to say sodium, potassium, magnesium, hydrogen, and then calcium. These are alkali and alkaline earth metals, very important metals which are present in our bodies and control very important functions. And some of the elements like vanadium, chromium, nickel, these green in color, they are suggested to be essential for humans. And rest of the elements which are showing in gray color, they are non-essential for humans. Um, Most essential elements, they are about 25, and we have seen from the periodic table that about 25 to 30 elements, they are actually really required in our bodies. And not there are some other elements which are not very essential, most essential, but their presence definitely helps in growth and reproduction. But their absence or their deficiency does not produce any ill effects. Um, some elements which are required in bulk quantities, they are sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, etc. Then there are others which are called trace and ultra trace elements, which are needed in very low and low concentrations. They generally comprise of elements from the first transition series, uh, like manganese, iron, cobalt, copper, zinc, etc. And metals and non-metals both, they form our bodies. Among non-metals, we have carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, sulfur. Uh, these are the major compounds. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, of course, they are, and nitrogen also. Silicon and then fluorine, chlorine, bromine, they are present in our bodies, but in very, very small quantities. So, how do we decide that which element is essential? So, whenever an essential element is removed from the diet, or it is taken in a very small amount, which is not sufficient, there occurs some physiological deficiency in our body. And when the deficiency, when that element is again added or restored in our body, that deficiency is impaired. That is repaired. Sorry. So this is how we classify an element as essential or non-essential. Then roles of trace elements. Trace elements, they play their roles in the transport of biological small molecules. For example, hemoglobin, that is the main component of blood, uh, which transports oxygen from lungs to each and every part, muscles of our body. And hemocyanin, it has copper as the active uh, metal. And in myoglobin, again, we have iron as the active metal, and myoglobin is used for oxygen storage in our bodies. Then, activation of molecules, many enzymes are involved, And enzymes are actually the catalysts. And those catalytic enzymes, which are activated by metal ions, they are called metalloenzymes. And they take part in redox processes, for example, iron, copper, manganese, cobalt, molybdenum, nickel. They participate in, they are a part of enzymes which participate in biological oxidation, the reduction of substrate, etc. That is the redox processes. Whereas zinc, it it is present in the enzymes which participate in acid-base processes, that is electron transfer processes. So zinc is a soft metal. It is a soft base, so it participates in electron transfer processes. Then about enzymes, they can be classified in two parts, in two types, that is simple or complex. And the complex enzymes, they have two parts, that is the protein part and the cofactor. And again, in the cofactor, we have prosthetic group and coenzyme. Coenzyme is the large organic molecule. एक बड़ी सी प्रोटीन चेन होती है, और उसमें जो मेटल आयन ट्रैप्ड होता है, जो उसको प्रोटीन चेन को एक्टिवेट करता है, एंजाइम को, उसको हम प्रोस्थेटिक ग्रुप बोलते हैं. So it is usually small inorganic molecule or atom which is tightly bound to the apoenzyme, that is the protein part. Example of prosthetic group we have here. Uh, this is carbonic anhydrase, which has zinc as the active metal, and this is the protein chain. These are three histidine amino acids which bond to this central nitrogen and occupy three positions, and the fourth position is occupied by water molecule. So metalloenzymes, they contain firmly bound metal ions at the enzyme active sites, for example, iron, zinc, copper, and cobalt. And here in carbonic anhydrase, zinc is the metal atom. So let us see the three-dimensional structure of carbonic anhydrase. Yes. So, so this is the geometry of histidine molecules, that is the amino acids from the protein chain. Here at the center we have zinc ion, and this is the water molecule. And these are the amino acids from the protein chain which surround this metal ion. So zinc is the most abundant trace element. It is the second most actually. It acts in the body mainly as a cofactor of hundreds of diverse zinc dependent enzymes. तो 100 से भी ज़्यादा, दो दो 250 के करीब एंजाइम्स हैं जो डायरेक्टली जिंक पे डिपेंड करते हैं और जिंक की प्रेजेंस से ही अपना काम कर पाते हैं. तो इनमें डीएनए पॉलीमरेज, एल्कलाइन फॉस्फेटेज, कार्बोक्सीपेप्टाइडेज एक्सेट्रा, तो ऐसे ये सब आते हैं. तो बॉडी कंटेंट इसका जिंक का, इट इज अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 2.5 grams and it is distributed as 60% in muscles, 30% in bones, and remaining 10% in other bodies and body tissues and organs. So, about the functions it plays role in formation of enzymes, collagen synthesis, improves immune system, maintains sense of taste and smell. In immunity system में इसका बहुत ज़्यादा रोल, अगर आपको याद हो, तो अगर किसी को कोविड पेशेंट रहा हो हम में से, तो आई रिमेम्बर कि डॉक्टर्स जिंक सप्लीमेंट देते थे उस टाइम. तो जिंक इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर इम्यून सिस्टम, for the improvement of immune system. So carbonic anhydrase, it catalyzes hydration, dehydration equilibrium of carbon dioxide, very important in the respiratory processes, taking back carbon dioxide in form of bicarbonate ions from the tissues to lungs. That is taken care by this carbonic anhydrase, which depends upon zinc to function. Then carboxypeptidase also contains zinc, and it helps in digestion. It catalyzes hydrolysis of peptide bonds इन प्रोटीन्स। प्रोटीन्स को तोड़ने के लिए तो ये सी टर्मिनल की तरफ से ये प्रोटीन को तोड़ने में हेल्प करता है, कार्बोक्सीपेप्टाइडेज, which also has zinc as the active metal. So this is how carboxypeptidase works. This is the C terminal of the uh, protein chain, and it breaks this peptide bond, and proteins are broken up to in the during the digestion process. Then this is the respiratory process. Carbon dioxide, it is dissolves in water to form carbonic acid in presence of carbonic anhydride, and it is taken back to the lungs in the form of bicarbonate ions. Then copper is also required building cytochrome C oxidase, a large protein complex in mitochondria, uh, which is very important during the electron transport chain reactions. That is the production of ATP, and then extracting, harvesting energy for the production of ATP. ATP जैसे कि हम जानते हैं कि एडिनोसिन ट्राइफॉस्फेट, ये एनर्जी के पैकेट्स इनको माना जाता है, and whenever they break up to form ADP and phosphate, liberate a phosphate molecule, so energy is released. So here also we can see cytochrome C oxidase का structure देखते हैं, three-dimensional structure. Yes. इसमें प्रोटीन चेन है और दो एटम्स मेटल के एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. दिस इज कॉपर, एंड दिस वे वी हैव आयरन. दिस इज आयरन ट्रैप्ड इन द पोरफायरिन रिंग. दिस इज द पोरफायरिन रिंग. ये चार नाइट्रोजन्स के साथ इसका बॉन्ड बना हुआ है, पोरफायरिन. Iron at the center, and it is bonded to oxygen on one side, and here on the other side we have copper bonded to three histidine amino acids, and fourth site is occupied by oxygen. So this oxygen is converted to water, that is the in the redox reaction. So in plasma, 90% is bound to 90% of copper is bound to a conjugated metalloenzyme, that is ceruloplasmin, and 9% is bound to carrier proteins like albumin, and only 1% is free copper. And this ceruloplasmin, which has about 90% of copper in the body, is a protein that is made in the liver. It stores and carries copper from the liver into the bloodstream and other parts of our body that need it. Then we come to alkali metal ions and their biological rules. They influence acid base equilibrium, like सोडियम इन द एक्स्ट्रा सेल्यूलर फ्लूइड, जो सेल्स के बाहर, सेल मेम्ब्रेन के बाहर बिटवीन द सेल्स जो फ्लूइड है उसको एक्स्ट्रा सेल्यूलर फ्लूइड कहते हैं, और उसमें सोडियम का लेवल जो it also controls osmotic pressure and water retention, and protein biosynthesis उसको भी कंट्रोल करता है. Then many enzymes, they are dependent on this sodium and potassium, like glycolytic enzyme, pyruvate, kinase. They also require potassium for their activities. Most important role of sodium and potassium, alkali metals, is in the sodium potassium pump. It is an example of an active transport, and active transport because energy is used to move a solute against its concentration gradient. During the reaction, 3 sodium ions and 2 potassium ions are transported per ATP molecule hydrolyzed. Let us see a video on this. So I hope this video makes it more clear. This is a video from taken from YouTube. Yes. So this is the cell membrane. You can see these are the phospholipids, and this is outside of the cell, and this is inside part. And inside we have sodium ions in lesser amount and potassium ions, they are in excess. Potassium ions are in excess in the interior of the cell and sodium ions in excess outside the cell. But the movement through this sodium potassium pump occurs in such way that sodium moves from lower concentration to higher concentration. सोडियम अंदर से बाहर जाता है और पोटाशियम बाहर से अंदर आ रहा है, जो कि कॉन्सेंट्रेशन का जो फिनोमेना है, जो ट्रांसपोर्ट मैकेनिज्म है, उसके उल्ट है. दैट इज वाई इट इज नॉट स्पॉन्टेनियस प्रोसेस, इट रिक्वायर्स एनर्जी. तो वो एनर्जी कहाँ से आती है? देखिए, ये प्रोटीन है जो जो कि एक चैनल प्रोवाइड कर रही है. इट इज स्पेशलाइज्ड फॉर दिस sodium potassium pump. It occurs as a pump. This is a molecule of ATP. It binds to this protein and it breaks up. These are the three sodium ions. They have entered this. When ATP binds to this protein, carrier protein, three sodium ions, they enter the protein as this opens up. And eventually, one phosphate molecule breaks, and when this ADP leaves, जब ये ADP निकलता है, तो प्रोटीन का जो नेचर है that changes. It opens on the outside of the cell, and when the outside part opens, it opens on the outside. यहाँ पे मुंह खुल गया इसका, तो सोडियम दो पोटाशियम आयंस इसके अंदर एंटर हुए. And when these potassium ions they enter, the phosphate molecule it leaves the protein. यहाँ पे हमने देखा कि जो फॉस्फेट जुड़ा हुआ था वो निकल गया यहाँ से, और जब वो निकला तो अंदर से पोटाशियम उनको ड्रॉप करके तो सोडियम फिर वापस अनदर एटीपी मॉलिक्यूल comes, it breaks, and again the mouth opens on the other side, on the outer side, potassium enters, and again the protein it opens on the inside, and potassium ions they are carried inside of the cell. So this is how sodium potassium this pump it works. Energy is provided by the ATP molecules. So when we have seen three sodium ions, they move towards the outer side. So it means there will be the inner side of the membrane, it will develop a negative charge, and outer side of the membrane that will develop a positive charge. So a pump generates an electric gradient across the membrane. तो negative positive charges develop हो जाएंगे membrane के across. So each operation of the cell pumps out larger number of sodium ion from the cell than the potassium that it pumps into the cell. So अंदर से positive ions ज़्यादा बाहर जा रहे हैं, तो it means बाहर वाली side पे positive charge develop हो जाएगा और membrane के अंदर वाली side पे negative charge develop हो जाएगा. As a result of the interior of the cell, it acquires an excessive negative charge, while the exterior, again it is repeated. As a result, electric potential gradient is developed. तो एक potential difference develop हो जाएगा. तो ये जो potential difference है, it is responsible to for the transmission of nerve signals in the animals. तो जो nerve signals हमारे जो nerve cells हैं बॉडी के एक पार्ट से पूरी ब्रेन पर सेंसेशन जाती है और वहाँ से फिर सिग्नल जो है अलग अलग पार्ट्स में ट्रैवल करता है. तो दैट इज ऑल due to this sodium potassium, thanks to this sodium potassium pump. और ऑफ कोर्स जो नर्व सेल्स हैं उनके एक्सॉन पार्ट जो है, नर्व सेल का अगर आप पार्ट देखें तो एक्सॉन जो उसकी जो एक अ, उसका मेन पार्ट होता है जहाँ से ये करंट ट्रेवल करता है, तो दैट इज कवर्ड बाय अ माइलिन शीथ. तो अगर वो माइलिन शीथ डैमेज हो जाए तो करंट प्रॉपरली ट्रांसफर नहीं करता. तो माइलिन शीथ इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो अगेन वी कैन सी हियर is just to show you. So alkaline, sorry, वो वीडियो रिपीट हो गया. Alkaline earth metal ions, biological calcium rules for calcium. Calcium ions, they are mainly, we all know, it is a very important part of our bones. Mainly calcium के बने हुए हैं और हमारे teeth, nails. So these are present as phosphates in the bones of human beings and animals. And about 99% of calcium is present in the skeleton, where it is maintained as deposits of calcium phosphates in soft and fibrous matrix. And about 1% is present in the body fluid, where it is partly ionized. And this ionized calcium ion is important in blood coagulation. तो तकरीबन जो जितना हमारी बॉडी में ब्लड कैल्शियम रिक्वायर्ड है, सारा का सारा बोन्स में और दांतों में हमारे और नेल्स में है. तो कुछ ओनली 1% जो है हमारी ब्लड स्ट्रीम में है, तो वो आयनाइज्ड फॉर्म है. बाकी का मेटालिक फॉर्म है या फॉस्फेट की फॉर्म है, सॉरी. एंड दिस calcium ions, it is important in blood coagulation and in maintaining the normal excitability of the heart, muscles, nerves, and in different aspects of membrane permeability. Then it regulates processes of nerve transmission, muscle contraction, electrolyte balance, blood coagulation, building up of bones and teeth. These are very important roles. And if calcium is not enough in our blood due to deficiency in our diet, अगर हम डाइट ठीक से नहीं ले रहे तो ब्लड में कैल्शियम की कमी है, तो parathyroid gland, which lies just behind the thyroid glands in the neck, it secretes a hormone that triggers our bones to release calcium into the blood. तो parathyroid gland अगर अगर ये हार्मोन इनएडिक्वेट प्रॉपर तरीके से सिक्रीट नहीं कर रहा, तो या विटामिन D3 की कमी है हमारी बॉडी में या पैराथायरॉयड हार्मोन की कमी है, तो इट लीड्स टू हाइपोकैल्सीमिया, तो कैल्शियम डेफिशिएंसी. तो इसके फिर इल इफेक्ट्स हमें हमारी बॉडी में देखने को मिलते हैं. सो appropriate amount of calcium intake is very, very important. Then is functions of magnesium. It is an important constituent of chlorophyll, we all know, and chlorophyll, it forms the basis of photosynthesis in plants. And without photosynthesis, we know uh, there can be no energy production, no oxygen production, and no food will be possible without photosynthesis. So this is how we can have an idea about the importance of magnesium ions. And magnesium ions, they are present in enzyme phosphatase, which act upon organic phosphates and hydrolyze them into free phosphates. And this is also present in aminopeptidase, like the one हम अभी पीछे हमने देखा कार्बोक्सीपेप्टाइडेज जिसमें जिंक एक्टिव मेटल था. तो aminopeptidase में magnesium is the active metal, and this enzyme, it breaks the polypeptide chains, hydrolyzes them at the N end, that is the free amino end of the chain is broken by this aminopeptidase, and magnesium is an important part of that. Again, here we have transphosphorylation reactions. involving ATP, so they also proceed in presence of magnesium. So एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन में इसका खास रोल है मैग्नीशियम का। तो इसी कारण से जब हम हमारी बॉडी मैग्नीशियम डेफिशिएंट होती है तो वी फील लेथार्जिक, मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्शन प्रॉपर से नहीं होती, तो डॉक्टर्स दे रिकमेंड कैल्शियम मैग्नीशियम supplements. And this is the molecule of, this is chlorophyll and magnesium is at the center. This is the porphyrin ring, 4 nitrogen atoms, they are bonded to this magnesium, and the reaction which is carried out is carbon dioxide plus water. This is the photosynthetic reaction, and glucose uh, production happens only in presence of chlorophyll. Then calcium ions and alkali metal ions, in my comparison, calcium is advantageous over alkali metals because it has higher charge to radius ratio, and therefore it has higher affinity for most ligands than alkali metal ions, which are also hard acceptors. तो इनका कैल्शियम और उसके बाद में जो ट्रांजिशन सीरीज के फर्स्ट ट्रांजिशन सीरीज के एलिमेंट्स हैं, तो सोडियम पोटाशियम आयंस, सोडियम पोटाशियम पंप में तो बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट इनका रोल है, पर एंजाइम्स में ये ज़्यादा पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करते। वहाँ एंजाइम्स में एज अ प्रोस्थेटिक ग्रुप कैल्शियम या जिंक या दूसरा मैंगनीज, कॉपर, वो एलिमेंट्स हैं because they have higher charge to radius ratio and they have higher affinity for most ligands, and they form stable complexes. Whereas alkali metals, they are hard acceptors. Calcium ion is advantageous when high reaction rates are needed along with high affinity for oxygen ligands. Then we have iron, and iron, as we all know, it is very, very important. It is integral part of hemoglobin, myoglobin, which are carriers of oxygen in our bodies. It is an important trace element required for growth and survival of cells, organisms, and fungi. 70% of total iron in human body is stored in form of hemoglobin and 3% in myoglobin. And in hemoglobin, iron transports oxygen from the lungs to different parts of the body. And in myoglobin, iron enables storage of oxygen. So myoglobin is involved in the storage of oxygen. And iron is also a part of many enzymes and is essential for growth, healing, immune function, and synthesis of DNA. Then the structure of human hemoglobin, and it is very interesting to know that approximately 25 trillion RBCs are there in the bloodstream. तो जो हीमोग्लोबिन है वो रेड ब्लड सेल्स में होता है, और हमारी ब्लड स्ट्रीम में अबाउट 25 ट्रिलियन आरबीसीज होते हैं, और हर एक आरबीसी 250 मिलियन हीमोग्लोबिन मॉलिक्यूल से पैक्ड है. जस्ट इमेजिन द number of hemoglobin molecules in our body. It is very, very high. So let us see the three-dimensional structure of hemoglobin. So hemoglobin, it is made up of two types of proteins. Two alpha proteins are there, protein chains are there, and two beta protein chains are there. You can see here. Two blue and two red, they indicate different types of sets of proteins. And we can see this black part, it is the heme group which is present, which is embedded in the protein chain. और ये जो हीम में, इसके सेंटर में आयरन का एक एक एटम, चारों हीम्स में, तो चार प्रोटीन्स हैं, चारों में एक एक हीम ग्रुप है, और उनमें एक, उनके सेंटर में एक एक आयरन जो है वो ट्रैप्ड है, which acts as a binding site for oxygen. तो कितना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड इसका स्ट्रक्चर है हम देख सकते हैं. तो ये जो आयरन इसमें बॉन्डेड है, दैट इज इन द Fe2 पॉजिटिव स्टेट, फेरस स्टेट. तो ऑक्सीजन इसको ऑक्सीडाइज क्यों नहीं कर पाती? देयर इज अ रीजन फॉर दैट, बिकॉज दीज प्रोटीन चेन्स, इन्होंने ऐसे इसको ट्रैप किया हुआ है कि हीम चेन्स डायरेक्टली एक दूसरे के सामने नहीं आ पाते. दे कैन नॉट इंटरेक्ट विद वन अनदर. तो ऑक्सीजन विल स्टे हियर. तो one site is occupied by cysteine, sulfur from cysteine, and second another with the oxygen atom. So four oxygen molecules, they are binded by one molecule of hemoglobin, that is by four heme groups. So heme consists of ferrocyands coordinated to a porphyrin ring, and ferrous, it has 6 coordination sites. The porphyrin ligand takes up only 4 of the 6 sites, and 2 sites, they are free. And if free heme is present in aqueous solution, these 2 vacant sites may be occupied by water molecules. So this is the situation in deoxygenated blood, hemoglobin. Then we have a structure of myoglobin. And in myoglobin, let's see the three-dimensional structure. There is only one protein chain. In myoglobin, there is only one protein chain, and so there is only one heme group. We can see here. So this is this red. This is the heme group, and it has iron atom at the center, and it is trapped in the single protein chain, three-dimensional protein chain. It is surrounding this heme group from all sides. So this is the three-dimensional structure of myoglobin. So you can see here, 4 sites, they are occupied by nitrogen from these pyrrole rings. And 5th site is occupied by this amino acid. And 6th site is occupied by oxygen molecule in oxygenated hemoglobin, myoglobin, sorry, in oxygenated myoglobin. Then both HB and MB, hemoglobin and myoglobin, have 5 coordinated iron atom, and it is in so in deoxyhemoglobin, myoglobin, 6th position is occupied by weakly bonded water. जब ऑक्सीजन नहीं होती तो हाइड्रोजन उस पे वीकली बॉन्ड हो जाता है. तो ऑक्सीजन कैन इजीली रिप्लेस water molecule. When oxygen is available, it replaces the water molecule because the complex with the water is not very strong. So these hemoglobin and myoglobin, they play a very important role in transporting oxygen from lungs to tissues and carbon dioxide as bicarbonate from tissues to lungs. Oxygen is inhaled into the lungs at very high pressure when it binds HB. तो जहाँ लंग्स में ऑक्सीजन का प्रेशर काफ़ी ज़्यादा होता है तो वो आयोडीन HB के साथ बाइंडिंग हो जाती है, and it is transported to tissues where partial pressure of oxygen is low. तो वहाँ पे जाके ये कॉम्प्लेक्स टूट जाता है. And we can see here, you can see from here, this is in the lungs. Oxygen, it is inhaled, and partial pressure of oxygen is 100 torr. It is a unit of pressure, and it is taken up by this hemoglobin. Oxygenated hemoglobin is formed. It is transported to the tissues and in the muscles. We can see here, this oxygen is released by hemoglobin and taken up by myoglobin. And myoglobin in the muscles, the partial pressure of oxygen is very low, that is 20 to 30 torr. And here, complex of hemoglobin, it destabilizes. So this myoglobin, it stores, respiration occurs, oxygen during respiration, or carbon dioxide is released, and this carbon dioxide is taken up. It is mixed with water in presence of carbonic anhydrase, and carbon dioxide is taken back to the lungs in the form of bicarbonate ions. So this is how this respiration cycle goes on. And it is very interesting to note that hemoglobin is a large protein molecule with molecular weight about 64,500, having 4 subunits. And two of the subunits, they form alpha 141 amino acids. एक अल्फा में 141 अमाइनो एसिड्स हैं और दो बीटा प्रोटीन्स हैं जिनमें 146 अमाइनो एसिड्स हैं, जबकि मायोग्लोबिन में सिर्फ एक ही प्रोटीन है. So this is how अगर फेरिक हीम अगर ऑक्सीडाइज हो जाए, प्रोटीन चेन अराउंड पोरफायरिन आयरन साइट इज हाइड्रोफोबिक, क्योंकि ऑर्गेनिक पार्ट है सारा प्रोटीन चेन, उसमें कार्बन हाइड्रोजन का ऑल, तो इट ब्लॉक्स द ऑक्सीडेशन ऑफ फेरस टू फेरिक. दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. तो ये है जो 3 डायमेंशनल स्ट्रक्चर प्रोटीन का, जो उसके आसपास मेटल के उसको प्रोटेक्ट करता है. तो दिस इज द रोल इट प्लेज. इट प्रिवेंट्स ऑक्सीडेशन ऑफ फेरस टू फेरिक बाय मॉलिक्यूलर ऑक्सीजन. और अगर ये प्रिवेंशन ना हो तो इस तरह का ऑक्सीडाइज्ड प्रोडक्ट बन जाएगा हीमेटिन, तो विच कैन नॉट फंक्शन एज ऑक्सीजन. ये परमानेंट बन जाता है. तो अगर ये बन जाए तो फिर हीम इट कैन नॉट टेक अप अनदर ऑक्सीजन, तो फिर ये यूजलेस हो जाता है, ब्लॉक हो जाता है परमानेंटली. So it has to be prevented, and it is done. Things have been very nicely controlled by nature, and we see. And ferroscience, in absence of oxygen molecule, it has been shown that the ferroscience, they form high spin complex. High spin complex is formed with the porphyrin ring in absence of oxygen molecule. And in presence of oxygen molecule, the size of this ferrocyan, it shrinks slightly because of the formation of low spin complex. So high spin and low spin, we understand, I think we all know that when electrons are unpaired during complex formation, d orbitals, they lose their degeneracy, they break up into T2G and EG sets. And when electrons, they are unpaired, we call the complex high spin. And when electrons are all paired, then we call the complex as low spin complex. And in oxygenated hemoglobin, this forms a low spin complex. And in deoxyhemoglobin, it has been found that iron, this central hole of porphyrin ring, this because of bigger size of iron, it does not fit into the porphyrin ring. We can see from here like this. So this is the porphyrin ring. ये होल है इसकी, और जब डीऑक्सीजनेटेड है, जब ऑक्सीजन उसके साथ नहीं जुड़ा, ये प्रोटीन चेन है. एक तरफ से ये अमाइनो एसिड एक साइड ये है, और 4 साइड्स नाइट्रोजन से है, और छठी साइड जो है वो खाली है अभी. तो यहाँ हम देख सकते हैं कि फेरस आयंस, इट इज बिगर इन साइज, और ये इसमें प्रॉपर फिट नहीं हो रहा, थोड़ा सा बाहर है. एंड व्हेन ऑक्सीजन बाइंड्स टू दिस आयरन, it becomes low spin, size decreases, and it fits into the protein hole. और इससे क्या होता है कि यहाँ जो प्रोटीन चेन है, इसमें सिग्नल जाता है. तो यहाँ पे जो फिर एक्शन जो ट्रिगर होता है, उससे पूरी प्रोटीन चेन, जो पूरा हीमोग्लोबिन का प्रोटीन स्ट्रक्चर है, वो हिल जाता है, और वो अलर्ट हो जाता है. बाकी के जो हीम ग्रुप्स हैं वो अलर्ट हो जाते हैं कि हाँ जी ऑक्सीजन आ गई है, तो अब रेडी हो जाओ ऑक्सीजन को रिसीव करने के लिए. सो इसको हम कहते हैं कोऑपरेटिविटी. दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. कि नॉर्मली तो क्या होता है कि जब एक पार्ट रिएक्ट कर गया, तो आगे आगे फर्दर जो रिएक्टिविटी है वो डिक्रीज हो जाती है. हम यही पढ़ते हैं अपने केमिस्ट्री में. लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि जब एक हीम ग्रुप ऑक्यूपाई होता है, तो दूसरे जो है वो ज्यादा एक्टिवेट हो जाते हैं. तो दूसरे ग्रुप का आयरन जो है वो दैट इज इवन मोर रेडी टू रिसीव द ऑक्सीजन. उसके बाद तीसरे का रेट और भी बढ़ जाता है, चौथे का रेट और भी बढ़ जाता है. तो इसको हम कहते हैं पॉजिटिव कोऑपरेटिविटी. So hemoglobin shows positive cooperativity with oxygen. When an oxygen atom binds to one of hemoglobin's 4 binding sites, the affinity to oxygen of the 3 remaining available binding sites increases. That is, oxygen is more likely to bind to a hemoglobin bound to one oxygen than to an unbound hemoglobin. This is referred to as cooperative binding. So I stop here. Thanks to the organizing team for giving me an opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving such a nice and wonderful lecture. मैम आपका आपकी जो प्रेजेंस है वो भी हमारे लिए एक इंस्पिरेशन है आज के सेशन के अंदर, बिकॉज यू हैव ए वेरी लॉन्ग टीचिंग एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ मोर देन 30 years फॉर टीचिंग यूजी classes and by using the ICT tools, which is the need of the hour. And your topic is very current topic, very nice topic, that is also the need of the hour. Ma'am, our students, our children's are always curious to know about all these things. मैम जब हमारे बच्चे छोटे होते हैं तभी से उनके दिमाग के अंदर एक ही क्वेश्चन आता है, वो क्या पूछते हैं हमेशा हर चीज के बारे में हमसे. हम कहेंगे, वो हमसे पूछेंगे कि हमारी बॉडी के अंदर ये जो डिफरेंट ब्लड वेसल्स हैं, वो पूछेंगे व्हाट इज दिस. हम कहेंगे ये ब्लड वेसल्स हैं. तो फिर वो कहेंगे क्यों, कैसे, इसमें क्या होता है. तो हम कहेंगे इसके अंदर ब्लड होता है. फिर वो पूछेंगे ब्लड कैसा होता है, वो कैसे फ्लो करता है. फिर वो पूछेंगे कि फूड क्या होता है, फिर फूड हम क्यों खाते हैं, उसके अंदर क्या होता है, क्यों क्यों, वाई 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 एंड वाई. उनके जो डिफरेंट वाइज होते हैं, हमारे छोटे बच्चों के, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के, हमारे कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स के भी. तो उन सभी क्वेश्चंस का जो जवाब आपने आज के लेक्चर में दिया कि व्हाई दीज डिफरेंट मेटल्स आयंस, वेदर दीज मेटल्स आयन आर प्रेजेंट नेचुरली, हमारे जो सिस्टम है उसके अंदर नेचुरली प्रेजेंट होते हैं, उनसे कौन सी डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ प्रोसेसेस चलती हैं, फोटोसिंथेसिस, रेस्पिरेशन प्रोसेस, कैसे एक्सचेंज होता है आयंस का हमारी बॉडी के अंदर, और उन डिफरेंट मेटल्स आयन का क्या रोल है. तो आपने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से उन सारी चीजों को एक्सप्लेन किया. तो इसलिए मैं दोबारा से मैम आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं कि आपने हमें मौका दिया, अपने कीमती समय के अंदर से आपने समय निकाला और आप हमारे बीच आए, और आपने इतने अच्छे तरीके से लेक्चर दिया है कि साथ के साथ कमेंट बॉक्स के अंदर कमेंट्स भी हमें मिले. हमने बच्चों को कह रखा है कि बेटा जब भी कोई भी चीज आए हमें फीडबैक आप साथ के साथ दिया करें. हमारे जितने भी लेक्चर्स चले हैं, ऑफलाइन चले हैं, सारे लेक्चर जितने चले, ऑनलाइन भी हमने कुछ कंडक्ट कराए हैं साथ के साथ, क्योंकि हमारा प्रोग्राम ब्लेंडेड मोड के अंदर है. हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं हमारे कॉलेज से भी हैं, बाहर से भी जुड़े हुए हैं, ताकि सभी को पूरा फायदा मिले हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन के एक्सपीरियंस का. तो उसी कड़ी के अंदर मैम आज आपने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से हमारा जो मेटल आयंस हैं जितने भी, चाहे वो मैक्रो न्यूट्रिएंट्स की फॉर्म में यूज हो, माइक्रो न्यूट्रिएंट्स की फॉर्म में यूज होते हैं, उन सभी को आपने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से एक्सप्लेन किया. साथ के साथ आपने अपने लेक्चर के दौरान बीच में ये हमें शो भी किया कि किस तरीके से अपने लेक्चर के दौरान बीच में हम आईसीटी टूल्स को कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं. सो थैंक यू मैम फॉर गिविंग योर वैल्यूएबल टाइम फॉर अस, फॉर आवर पार्टिसिपेंट्स. हम सभी जो टीचर हैं केमिस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट के, पूरी हमारी जो कॉलेज फेटर्निटी है पंडित एनआरएस गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज रोहतक की, और मैं डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ हायर एजुकेशन हरियाणा की तरफ से भी आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं मैम. थैंक यू सो मच मैम.